You know, the dining facility at Fort Oak Ridge went dead quiet that day, quieter than I'd ever heard it in all my time there, folks with spoons halfway to their mouths, staring like they'd seen a ghost, as Colonel Marcus Hale grabbed my arm and dragged me straight to the bathroom, shoving my face right into a toilet bowl in front of God and everybody, maybe 80 witnesses, all frozen in shock. It lasted maybe 10 seconds, but man, it felt like forever. The cold porcelain, the stink of cleaner burning my nose, water soaking my uniform, and when he yanked me up, sputtering and humiliated, I could see in his eyes he thought he'd broken me, put me in my place for good. But as I stood there dripping, rage bubbling up under the shame, I knew this wasn't the end. It was just the spark that had burned down his whole rotten empire, because what he didn't count on was me turning that moment into cold, hard, documented payback. See, I'd only been at Oak Ridge for about 2 months, fresh from intel training, and right away, I felt like an outsider. These combat vets running the show, all tight-knit, and me poking around reports like some desk jockey nobody trusted yet. But that's my job, right? Spotting patterns, connecting dots, and boy, the dots were screaming fraud from day one. Equipment listed as battle-ready but rusting in storage. Training sessions marked complete that never happened. Supplies claimed stocked while shelves sat empty, all funneling back to Hale's office like a bad smell you couldn't ignore. He'd been commander for 6 years, building his rep on shiny metrics that got him promotions. But underneath it was all smoke and mirrors, falsifying logs to look good for higher-ups, skimming gear for who knows what side hustle, maybe even selling it off base to line his pockets. Driven by this ego trip where he figured rank made him untouchable, and anyone sniffing around threatened his little kingdom. I tried the quiet route first, requested a one-on-one, laid out the mismatches like, "Hey sir, these could be oversights, but if brass audits us, we're toast," keeping it professional, no accusations, just facts. But Hale leaned back in his chair, eyes like slits, and goes, "You questioning my leadership, Captain Carter? Your duty's to back this command, not nitpick it to death." I held my ground, "Sir, these aren't nitpicks. They're risks to the mission." And that's when the mask slipped, him slamming his fist down, barking, "Sign off on him today. That's an order, or kiss your career goodbye." The threat hung there like a noose. Compromise everything I'd built, my integrity from boot camp up, or defy him and watch him crush me. As I walked out, stomach knotted, I knew the base grapevine was already buzzing, folks avoiding my eyes in the halls, like I'd just painted a target on my back. Word spreads fast in a place like that by lunch. Officers who'd been friendly were suddenly ghosts. Lieutenant Jake Thompson dodging me in the ops center with some lame excuse. Captain Derek Voss smirking like he knew I'd screwed up royal. Hale had the place locked down with favors and fear. Promote the yes men, bury the dissenters in crap assignments or bogus write-ups, all because his fraud kept the base looking elite on paper, feeding his ambition for that general star, no matter if it left troops unprepared for real action. I sat there in the DFAC pushing food around my plate, mind racing on next steps. Report up the chain, risk getting labeled a troublemaker, when Hale storms in, spots me, and booms loud enough for the whole room. "Captain Carter, we need to talk now." I stood, thinking maybe he'd cooled off, but nope, he hits me with, "Did you file those reports like I ordered?" A trap, pure and simple. Say yes, and I'm lying in public. Say no, and I'm insubordinate. The place goes pin drop silent, eyes on us. And I try deflecting, "Sir, I've got a memo on the issues we discussed. Maybe we handle this private?" But he cuts in, voice rising like thunder. "Issues? You mean your refusal to follow orders, your arrogance, thinking you know better than me with my 25 years. It was all twisted. I'd kept it private, but he was rewriting it for the audience, making me the villain. And when I pushed back, "Sir, that's not accurate," he snaps. "Don't contradict me. You think your bars protect you from consequences?" His face turns beet red, fists clenched, and I see the fury not just about reports, but me challenging his god complex. And I try de-escalating. "Colonel, if I've offended, let's step outside." But he grabs my arm, digs in hard enough to bruise, snarling, "Time you learned your place," and yanks me to the latrine like I'm trash. Door bangs open. He shoves me toward the stall. I stumble. Mind screaming this can't be real. A CO assaulting a subordinate in broad daylight, but no one intervenes. And next thing, my head's dunked, water rushing in, his voice muffled above. This is what happens when you undermine me. Lungs burning, hands slipping on the rim. Finally, he pulls me up, me gasping, mascara running, uniform wrecked, and he sneers, "Remember who's in charge," then struts out like nothing happened. I stood there shaking, staring at my reflection, hair plastered, eyes red, feeling destroyed, just like he wanted. But underneath, something sharper clicked in. This wasn't defeat, it was fuel. I walked back through that silent DFAC, head high despite the squishy boots, whispers starting behind me, and headed straight to quarters, locked the door, stripped the wet clothes, showered off the filth, let the tears come hot and angry, then dried off, sat down, and started writing. Notebook out, pen steady. Incident report, unauthorized assault, every detail time. Words, witnesses, pages filling up like armor, because if he thought I'd slink away quiet, he was dead wrong. This was war, and evidence was my weapon. Couple hours later, knock at the door. Specialist Laura Hayes, the medic, slips in with her kit, face neutral but eyes saying more. "Protocol check after any altercation," she says, but quieter adds, "May I?" And as she checks bruises, listens to my lungs, she murmurs, "File this, Captain. It'll flag in the system. Backed up regional, he can't erase it." Turns out she was risking her own neck. Hale reviewed local reports, but she flagged it as assault anyway, saying, "I saw what I couldn't ignore. You're not the first to vanish quiet." That cryptic bit stuck. Not the first, and later, my phone buzzes, unknown number. We saw it. Some won't forget. Not alone, maybe. I skipped dinner, munched protein bars, dove deeper into files, logs showing gear diverted for years, signatures faked, all propping Hale's fake success. His motive clear now. That star meant everything, even if it risked lives in a real deployment. Around 9, phone rings. Georgia code. Turns out Major Robert Ellis, retired instructor from my old course at Fort Huachuca, calling because someone tipped him. "Heard you're in deep. Seen this before, commanders drunk on power, crushing good folks to hide their dirt." We talk. Him sharing his own brush with a corrupt boss years back, barely surviving thanks to mentors, and he invites me off base. Day pass to town. Meet at Ellis Diner Saturday. We'll strategize. Risky, but staying silent felt worse, letting his fraud endanger troops just to protect his ego. Next days were hell briefings where stares burned holes. Voss smirking, Thompson averting eyes like I was plague. Hale reassigns me to supply drudgery under Voss, who keeps me waiting, then dumps folders with, "Focus on orders, not inventing problems. Colonel's been patient with your attitude." Threat clear, but I dug in, finding more fraud links. Shipments vanished, probably sold black market for Hale's gain. In evenings, more texts, "Stay strong," more "See the truth." Saturday, I drive to Pineville. Park at Ellis Diner, cozy spot run by his wife Sarah, faded neon, smell of bacon and coffee hitting like home. Robert's in the back booth, civilian clothes making him look softer, but eyes sharp as ever. "How you holding?" he asks, and I spill the fraud. Assault. Isolation. Him nodding, jotting notes, Sarah joining with. Hale's type avoids town. Tells you he's not for the community, just his ladder. They share stories. Soldiers fleeing Oak Ridge over years, like Sergeant Mia Lopez, discharged early after reporting Hale's harassment, driven by his twisted control, seeing women as threats or toys. Build the pattern, Robert says, not just your assault, but the exodus, the fear culture. Trigger IG without tipping him. Rush now, he'd bury evidence. Play long game, build allies. Sarah squeezes my hand. "You've got us. Honey, come to church tomorrow, meet vets who fought this." I hesitate, not big on faith but go. Pastor Elena Reyes preaching on standing firm. Congregation full of ex-military sharing scars from toxic commands, making me feel less alone, like maybe community could outlast his fear machine. Back on base. Escalation hits. Mandatory ethics session. Hale at podium with JAG flunky, droning on loyalty. Eyes on me as he twists. Some officers prioritize agendas over unity, questioning orders publicly. It undermines us all. Voss pipes up planted. "What if you think misconduct?" Hale smooth as oil. "Private channels first. No outsiders, no conspiracies." Arrow at my off-base meets. If he knew, he'd spin it as mutiny. After, I corner Thompson. "You saw it. If IG asks, tell truth." Him conflicted. "Family, kids. Can't risk, but promises to think." Evening, journalist Tom Riley calls, heard rumors of assault. Go on record. Heart pounding, risks huge, but silence lets Hale win. I call Robert, complicates, but control your narrative. I agree off record first. Article drops days later, command abuse at Oak Ridge. Base erupts. IG team arrives unannounced. Lieutenant Colonel Victoria Kane leading, stone-faced pro. Interviews start, me handing over my binder. Every scrap witness is shaky at first, but Hayes testifies on bruises, Wallace on past lines crossed, Hale's ego clashing with anyone stealing spotlight, Reed vowing truth if pushed. Pattern emerges, fraud for promotions, assaults to silence. Mia Lopez flies in, voice cracking but strong. He cornered me after report, threatened discharge. I ran, but now? For her. High-ups freeze Hale's access, arrest him mid-briefing, cuffs clicking, him yelling, "This is a witch hunt." Boss 2, for aiding theft. Base breathes Kane, interim commander, opens forums, trains on ethics, folks speaking up like never before. Healing slow therapy with Dr. Lena Brooks, unpacking trauma. Medal ceremony where General Harlan pins the soldier's medal, crowd cheering, Thompson tearing up. You saved us from becoming monsters. I transfer to Fort Evergreen. Oversight role, spotting frauds, Army-wide to testify Congress. Pushing reforms like external audits. Whistleblower shields bill passes, changes ripple. Hale gets 18 years. Empire crumbled but questions linger. Systems still flawed. Good folks slip through cracks. Was my win luck, or can anyone fight back? Pineville Memorial Garden honors it all. Statue of a lone fighter touching it, wondering if I'd do it again. What about you? Ever faced a bully with power, chosen fight or flight? Drop comments. Share your take on justice in broken systems. Hit subscribe if this hit home, means the world.